All right, welcome to another segment of What's Up. And today we're going to continue to keep the spirit of Mr. Kevin Samuels. But before we do that, of course, we're going to have to start the show off with my favorite drink. Favorite drink here is Red Bull. So excuse me for a moment while I indulge. I know Kevin usually drinks this with a straw, but I have to chug it down. You see? Mm. And me drinking all this Red Bull is getting me kind of fat. Okay, we got the device working in the background over here. You can see it right there. So yeah, I am putting on a few pounds. I'm gonna have to take and get my suit altered here a little bit. But what we don't want is our black women to take and increase in weight. So today's subject is, what does Kevin Samuels think about overweight black women? Right? We've listened to his shows, and he gets on there and he grills these women that are weighing more than 140 pounds and 5 feet tall and all that kind of stuff. I dated some very large women, and I find them kind of fun. Usually, if women that I see that are big and fat, they have a very pretty face. They have very pretty face, and they're big and fat. And I love big women. I love them to death. They call themselves thick. Is that the word that they use? Thick? Well, it should be fat, but it doesn't matter. I love a woman with a lot of meat on her bones. All right, but we're going to be looking at overweight black women. So let's look at some statistics. And the statistics say that over 70% of the United States adults are overweight, and the other word is obese. O-B-E-S-E. 70% of the United States adults are overweight or obese. I'm pretty sure if we look at the kids, that number is even higher. Among women, about 4 in 5 black women, or 80%, are overweight or obese. I'm going to repeat that for you. Among women, about 4 in 5 black women, or 80%, are overweight or obese. The highest rate of any group. Are you getting this? Obesity increases the risk of heart disease, diabetes, high blood pressure, and stroke. The top causes of early death among black women, right? You thought that the death rate for black women was their spouses killing them, right? But no, it's being obese. So let's look at some of Kevin Samuels' main points to overweight black women. But before we start, I'm gonna take one more swig out of this Red Bull can right here. So excuse me for a second. I want to tell you, Red Bull definitely gets you some wings. I'll probably be flying out here too. I'll probably be meeting Kevin Samuels with all the Red Bull that I drink. And you know what else I drink? I drink coffee and Monster. I drink the Monster the Red Bull and coffee. I'm on my way. Hey, Kevin, I'm on my way, just like Fred Sanford. I'm on my way, Kevin. I'm coming to meet you, right? Yep. I keep doing this, but I just love my Red Bull. So the first point, let's acknowledge the numbers. Kevin often said, you can't fix what you don't face. So denial doesn't change reality. Black women must face the high obesity rate head on. So if you're obese or you're fat, that's life-threatening, right? You can't delay it. You need to get out, get a plan starting today or tomorrow, and get out in the gym at least 5 days out of the week. You should be in the gym. Even if you don't do anything, just getting over there and just sitting in the chair is better than you sitting at home and raiding that ice box or that pantry. Okay, so that's what you need to do. You need to get checked out by your doctor. And once you get checked out by your doctor and he says it's okay to exercise, then you need to start doing it as soon as possible. Number 2, health before beauty. Excess weight isn't just about looks. It's about life expectancy. Many are dying younger from preventable conditions linked to weight. You know, I've seen some white girls, and they went out and got looked like it got some butt extensions to make their butt real thick. They weren't really obese, but they would put stuff in their rear area and put these breast implants on so that they could be all out of proportion. You know, the guys are just gawking and trying to look at that. This girl's butt was so big in the back, I could take and put a pie or use her butt as a desk. That's how far out it was sticking. It was sticking out about a foot from the small of her back. It was sticking straight out. Great big ass. And the men were just woo, woo, woo. Kevin, if you was out there, would you be saying something about that big fat ass woman? What would you say? I guess you don't have nothing to say.
You get your big fat ass on somewhere then. I don't deal with you big sassy ass broad.
What? What you say, Kevin?
You get your big fat ass on somewhere then. I don't deal with you big sassy ass broad.
Oh, I guess he don't like big fat women either. All right. So now let's look at point number 3. Men value fitness. Kevin repeatedly stressed that high-valued men overwhelmingly prefer fit, feminine women. Being overweight automatically puts women at a disadvantage in the dating market. Now, if you looked at my previous show, you found out that I am a high-valued man, and I probably would not marry an obese woman. I would have dated him. I sure would. I would definitely date an obese woman, but I probably would not marry one. Okay? So I don't know about the rest of you high-valued men sitting out there in the audience. You might marry a very beautiful woman that's in all the proportions, but once she gets in your house, she might turn into an obese wife. And then you got to figure out what you're going to do about that. All right? Point number 4, accountability over excuses. Blaming genetics, like your thyroid or thick culture, was something he rejected. Your weight is your responsibility. So nobody's sitting there controlling your mouth and your arm, right? So you need to be able to control your arm, control your mouth, control your habits, your bad habits of going and buying food or being around a lot of food and eating it. I know when I used to work as a school teacher at the school, they had birthday parties. All the employees, all the teachers had a birthday party. Then all the kids had a birthday party, and the same old teachers was in there just eating all that cake like a human garbage disposal. Pizza parties every Friday. Now we're gonna have pizza parties on Wednesdays. No, let's have it on Monday, Wednesdays, and Friday. Right? Just eating and just getting bigger and bigger and bigger. Right? So you need to get out of that. Right? You need to get out of that deal. And then you talk about, I got a thyroid problem. It's my thyroid. Yeah, I knew a real pretty Japanese officer. And I dated her a little bit, and she did have a thyroid problem. She had a waist, she wore a size 2 shoe, and she had a waist that was a 3. She wore a size 3 dress. She was just absolutely gorgeous. About 5 feet, 3 inches. And she had a thyroid problem. And she got bigger and bigger and bigger. And then the last time I saw her before she died, she was weighing close to 500 pounds. Are you hearing me? The little 5'3" Japanese girl weighed 500 pounds. She could not walk through a door. She could only walk through a double door. She could not sit in a chair. She had to sit in a bench. She could not wear her military boot. She had to wear some special sandals. And she lost her neck. She was as wide as she was tall. She was 5 feet 3 inches tall, and she was 5 feet 3 inches wide. And one of her legs was bigger than my whole torso. I felt so sorry for her. But she had a thyroid problem, so anything she ate put weight on her. But other than having some kind of disease or something like that, your weight is your responsibility. Number 5, the dress size rule is a reality. Kevin pointed out that the average black woman wears a size, are you ready for this? You go ahead and write down, what is the average dress size that a black woman wears today? Go ahead and put it down. Okay, raise your hand if you put 20 to 100. Okay, raise your hand if you put 19 to 20. All right, raise your hand if you put 16 to 18. All right, raise your hand if you put any range lower than 16. Okay, the answer is, are you ready for this, gentlemen? The average dress size of the average black woman today is 16 through 18. Are you hearing me? 16 through 18. While men typically want a woman in the size range of a 4 and an 8, right? And people like me, high-valued men, want a woman between 4 and a 6. But most of the black women are 16 through 18. We got a problem. Houston, we got a problem. All right, number 6, stop overestimating looks. Kevin said that many overweight women rate themselves a 9 or a 10. He comes up there, and first thing he want to know is, how do you rate yourself? How tall are you? And he wants to know how much you weigh. And a lot of women say that they're a 9 or 10. He argues if you were a 9 or 10, men will treat you like one. Weight lowers market value, period. So I have not seen an overweight or obese woman who's a 10. Now, if you've seen one, I want you to go ahead and put a comment to this video and let me know who is a 9 or a 10 that's obese. I want to know, don't you? I really want to know. So, Kevin, what do you think about obese women that think that they're a 9 or a 10?
You get your big fat ass on somewhere then. I don't deal with you big sassy ass broad.
Oh, I guess that's what he thinks about it. Number 7, weight equals options. Weight equals options. The higher the weight, the fewer the dating options. Slimming down widens the pool of eligible quality men. You know, I went on a water diet for 2 weeks because I'm a big fat ass. I was weighing 202 pounds about 2 weeks ago. I got on the scale just a minute ago, just before this show, and I weighed 185 pounds, right? So, and that's just drinking water each day. So there are ways of reducing your weight. So what kind of exercise did I do? All I did was walk around the school. So it's one square city block, and walking one lap around the school is a half a mile. So 2 laps around the school is a mile, and 4 laps around the school is 2 miles. And so I would walk 4 laps on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, and not eat anything but water. And I take some vitamins. And I take my blood pressure. I found out that my blood pressure was just super. It was 120/80, which is perfect, right? So if I can do it, you can do it. Walking is a very low resistant type of exercise. It doesn't mess with your knees. It doesn't cause you to stress out. You can walk at your own pace. People overseas do a lot of walking. They call it, I was in Germany and they call them Volks marches. Every morning, most of the German population would get up and walk the German trails. And once they got to the end, they would win medals and stuff. Some of you people know what I'm talking about. Volks marches? Oh, yeah. And they got walls full of medals from all the walking that they did in their life. So walking is a great thing to do, all right? Now, when Kevin asked you which your ranking is, a lot of you say you're 9 or 10. He says, tell me what you rate yourself as, but don't use number 7, okay? That's what his famous saying was on ranking yourself. So most of you out there, if you're obese, you're probably between 1 and a 5. Even if you got a pretty face, your ranking is between 1 and a 5. And if you're trying to get a high valued man, you need to be in the 9 and 10 range. All right. Number 7, weight. Oh, I already read that one. Weight equals option. So the heavier you are, the less options you have. The thinner you are, and you don't want to be real thin. And I love this singer. Her name was Karen Carpenter, and she was very beautiful, but she got really thin, and she died from an eating disorder. So you can have one that's called anorexia, and the other one is called, what's it, bulimia or something like that. It starts with a B, right? And one's eating, not eating at all, or scared to eat, and then the other one, you eat, and then you put your finger in your mouth and you throw it up, right? That's what they used to do back in the old days. The kings and stuff, and people in Greece, they could eat all day long, but when they ate, they had another bowl where they threw it all back up. Okay, bulimia, I think that's what it's called, right? So you don't want any one of those eating disorders, right? Okay, the next one is lifestyle resets. Lifestyle resets. Kevin advised women to cut processed food, exercise daily, and seek therapy if emotional eating is the root cause. So a lot of women, when they get upset, they sit on the sofa and they just eat. They just eat their problems away and just keep eating and eating because it stimulates the hormones in your body, your endorphins. It makes you feel good that you're eating, but you can't stop eating. Then you start binge eating, and then you eat so much you just pass out. I've seen people that weigh 7, 8, 900 pounds. They're so big that they have to cut a hole in the wall and get a forklift to take them out of the bed. That's how big they are. And some are bigger than that. Okay? So you don't want to get that big because the bigger you are, the less options you have for dating. All right? Number 9, no more thick versus fat games. Kevin drew a line. Thick means tone with curves, not obesity, disguises as body positivity. Okay, so don't be talking about how thick you are. Okay, what you need to do is get in the thick of the gym and get some of that weight off there. Because Kevin, what do you got to say about?
You get your big fat ass on somewhere then.
Oh,
I don't deal with you big sassy ass broad.
Oh my goodness, Kevin. He don't like it. Okay, starting to get a little warm in here. Let me get this Red Bull here and take one more little sip. We're almost near the end of the show. Mm-hmm. And as you'll notice in some of my next videos, I finally figured out how to put music in the background. So I'm discovering things. Some of the music might be a little loud because I'm learning how to adjust the music. So excuse me on a couple of them there. I'm finding out I can add music. So it's a learning process. I think I got the last couple of videos right. Okay, the last point 10, make it a priority. He urged women to treat fitness like a job. Consistent, discipline, and non-negotiable. He says, if you want a high-valued man, act like you want to live long enough to keep him. So once you get the high-value man and you're obese, your life expectancy might only be to 30 or 40 years old. Even if you're taking the steroids, if you look at those wrestlers, they're huge. A lot of them aren't obese, but they're huge. And how long do they live? About what, 30, 40, maybe 50 years old, right? So if you're big, that's not good for you because your heart has to work harder and your body has to work harder and your organs are getting crushed and you're taking in a lot of toxins and stuff and you're eating all this bad food and you're not getting enough exercise and you die early. And you big women, if you were weighing 300 or 400 pounds, what's going to happen when you get pregnant? Can you imagine how big you're going to be pregnant at 200 and 300 pounds? What's that baby going to be thinking when he comes out of your legs? Oh my goodness, I was born by Mount Everest. My mama is the Goodyear blimp, right? Don't do that to your kid. And most of the time when you're big and fat, your kid is going to grow up big and fat because you're going to be cooking that food and he's going to be sitting there or she's going to be sitting there right there eating food right with you. And the whole family is going to be fat. That's right. You won't be able to go out and buy a nice car. You're going to have to buy yourself a semi-truck or a bus to carry your big fat behind around, right? When you go swimming out in the swimming pool, and then you you come up for air, there's gonna be a sailor sitting over there going, "There she blows." Right? You'd be like Moby Dick coming up out of the water. All right? Okay. So much for that. Now, Kevin, finally, what do you got to say about the big obese women? Huh? You have something nice to say to them, Kevin?
You get your big fat ass on somewhere then. I don't deal with you big sassy ass broad.
All right. Well, Kevin had the last word on this show. Let me take one more swig in honor of Kevin. And once again, I hope some black men out there help pick up the ball, right? Help me out here. I said I'm going to pick up the ball and carry on Kevin's spirit, but I'm pretty sure there's a whole lot of other young men out there that can do a whole lot better job than me. But at least I'm not sitting on my ass. I'm doing something, okay? So I want you to enjoy the rest of the day. Thank you for being part of my show, and I'll see you on another edition of What's Up? What's Up?